but I call myself a nerd, even though, like, I don't feel like I'm quite as much of a nerd as I could be or should be. Maybe I feel like I have like nerd imposter syndrome, and that's my problem. I don't 100% know what it is. I'm still doing some introflexion in order to figure out where this comes from. But in a running list of things that I want to do to just kind of share my journey and maybe commiserate or empathize with other people who say, yeah, I call myself a nerd, but I totally missed out on this. I'm going to do a series called I Missed Out. And what this is going to be is things that I missed out on growing up and claiming to be a nerd in one sense, but like missing out for some reason on these like key staples of what it means to be a nerd. And some of them are going to be things that like were denied to me, and other things will be things that just kind of like maybe just flew over my head completely, and I just missed out on them for no good reason, and I need to like maybe go back and check on them again. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about in this series that I missed out on is Dungeons and Dragons. Now, here's the deal. If you play Dungeons and Dragons, you know and understand that it's a fantastic game and it's a lot of fun. But if you're like me, you probably missed out on Dungeons and Dragons. At first, I'm author RG Long. It's great to meet you. This is a brand new YouTube channel. I'm really excited to kind of share a little bit about my fantasy journey with you and the things that I love about fantasy and the things that I somehow missed about fantasy. And the thing that I want this channel to be about is YouTube for the casual nerd. So maybe you know Lord of the Rings things, but you don't know all the Lord of the Rings things. This YouTube channel is for you, and it's hosted by me. I write fantasy books. I have a blast doing it, but I'm not as nerdy as I really say I am. And these are a couple of reasons why. First is I missed out on Dungeons and Dragons. Now, unashamedly, I'm a pastor. Okay, so let's start there. We might have disagreements down in the comments below. It's fine. Go ahead. I'd love to actually talk to you. It would be great. But I also am a pastor's kid. So I grew up in a really conservative family. And I mean like super conservative. I remember walking through a toy store one time with my parents, and I saw a toy and I like, this looked cool, it looked like a game, maybe something I could sink my teeth into. It was going to be a lot of fun, and I remember holding on to it and asking them, hey, can I play this game? Can we buy it and I take it home? And we went over to an employee of the store, and my mom asked, hey, what kind of game is this? And he said, it's like Dungeons and Dragons. And that was it. That game did not come home with us because it was like Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, we were that kind of family. So maybe you missed out on Dungeons and Dragons when it first came out because you had a really conservative family like me. One of the problems with Dungeons and Dragons is in our circles when I was growing up, it was the devil, right? It was something that was bad, and why would you take part in something that had witchcraft and pretending to be somebody you're not, when really that's like imagination in general, right? And so I'm happy to report my family has grown and evolved and changed since then. But that was why I missed out on Dungeons and Dragons when I was a little kid, because it was literally the devil. And so now, because of quarantine and some other reasons, I've had a chance to actually buy my first set of Dungeons and Dragons. I actually bought the two different things after like researching it and figuring out some things about it. I saw that, okay, there's the starter pack and the essentials kit. Which one should I get? And like an adult who has an adult money, I bought both. So I now own both essential kit and starter pack, but I kind of lack buddies to play Dungeons and Dragons with. So as much as I have enjoyed reading the lore and learning the rules and things like that, I lack the buddies to play. Doesn't mean I can't enjoy it, because I have absolutely loved listening to Critical Role. That YouTube channel, and going through them and listening to season 2. I didn't even listen to a single one of season 1, but I originally listened to it so that I could learn how to play, because it seemed kind of convoluted and I didn't understand. But as soon as I heard these awesome voice actors playing Dungeons and Dragons, and Matt Mercer just being a fantastic DM, I was hooked on that idea. But I'd still kind of lack some buddies to play Dungeons and Dragons, which, that's okay. During quarantine, all of us lacked some buddies, right? So I had a chance to just dive in and learn, and because of quarantine, I had a captive audience in my 3 daughters. So guess who was DMing for the preteen club? And for 3 kids under the ages of 10, they actually really enjoyed what we played of Dungeons and Dragons. And there's not a small part of me that thinks it's ironic that now that I'm a student pastor who was told not to play Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid, to literally running a campaign for my children as a dungeon master now. So, things come full circle, I guess. But I'm really looking forward to actually playing Dungeons and Dragons for real in a group where I'm not also trying to parent at the same time, which is why I am super excited for this new app coming out called Fireball. I actually found this out on Kickstarter and was really pumped about it when I saw it, because it's supposed to be Dungeons and Dragons played on your phone in such a way that you can play with either complete strangers or friends that you know, and you can interact and roll dice and see pieces moving on the board. I tried to get into Roll20 a little bit and understand what was going on there, and it was just a little too much for my brain. But Fireball is something that I'm really excited about, because we're going to get a chance to play this interactively on an app. And the great thing about having an app like this is it's going to walk with me wherever I go. So whether I'm being a dungeon master or being a player, I'm going to be able to interact and play with some buddies through this app. If you haven't got a chance to check this out, I'm putting a link down below in the description so that you can check out Fireball app and see what it's all about. I'm actually really excited about it. I get to be a beta tester. And so once they finally release the beta test, I'll come back and I'll tell you about my experience and how fun it's been. And I'm really looking forward to it. So, like I said, this is going to be a series of things that I missed out on as a quintessential nerd, but maybe I should have, in retrospect, gotten involved in. I'd love to hear something that you think you missed out on, even though it's completely a part of being a fantasy nerd culture, but it's just not your thing. Let me know down below in the comments, and if you would please, I would love for you to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking this wonderful subscription orb right over here. I'm actually very new to YouTube, so hopefully it's here. Maybe I will hopefully put this orb here. If it is here, click it, subscribe, and I'm looking forward to releasing new videos every weekday for you to get involved in, so that we can go on this fantasy journey together. I'm RG Long, I'm the author, and I look forward to us journeying together. See ya!